Hi guys, my name is Adesho and with me is
Wale.
On today's episode of Mailbox, we'll be addressing different mail from different people from all over the world. Our first mail today is from Ben. Ben is from Abuja. Ben says, my friend cannot afford my services. Hello. For 3 weeks, my friend has been saying he wants me to create a website for him. However, I've been avoiding him because he insists that he cannot pay the fee I gave him. It was a discounted price I gave him, but he says, as a friend, I should ask him how much he can pay instead of giving him price. I cannot do business like that. How can I handle this without it affecting our friendship?
I mean, for you to have a position already on this subject
even sending a mail.
I mean, for you to have a position on it. So they're usually what they call friends and family discounts. However, usually more often than not, it will always cause problems. In the end, it would be either is best as pro bono, and you're doing it as a service to humanity, or you don't do it at all. And you can have that kind of policy. So some of these things that happens in people's life usually bring you to the place of having policies and value systems where you don't actually, deal with family members because you know that the wounds will be deeper and sometimes it takes a long time to heal. So when you have this kind of conversation, it's best to, and everybody will know you. I mean, some people have a blanket conversation as to family and friends and say, we don't do ashrebi, not because they can't, but because they know that eventually these kind of things will demand certain things from them. So they don't touch it at all. So for you, it might be that, we don't deal family and friends on websites, because if this person is negotiating now, what that means is that next year, when there is an upgrade of some sort on things that needs to be done, they would not pay for that service and it will be hurting you. And you don't want a situation whereby your heart is tainted or corrupted on the premise of, doing something for your friends and family. And I hope that helps you. So what you can do essentially is either to have that kind of position or insist on your pricing. And if the person can afford it, they can do it. If you are the best in town, they will do it. If they are not, then there's nothing to do about it.
Any friendship that is making you send a mail for an advice, you guys need to question that relationship, because this is just straight up communication, And for your friend too, there are actual costs to things. So if it's business now, so if the guy says that is his price, a lot of people develop website now. I mean, in fact, that people that don't deal with them friends and they still do the same thing outside, but they are still cool as friends. Yeah. So I don't think this thing is a no-brainer. If the guy says that is what he wants to do with his business, that's what your own business too. Maybe he might need something to, you can, if you want to, you understand. So really, friendship, we must begin to understand what friendship is actually, because sometimes people are just acquaintance. People are just your one of exactly. So you now begin to say, when somebody is your friend, it's like a brother or a sister that you have conversations. You know that, in fact, they're having some friend that they will say it's 10 naira, I'll give you 14 naira because I know my friend is a big boy. Or my friend is a, you understand? Why are you not the one blessing the life of your friend? So pray to God to help you bless the life, bless you so much that your friend will be asking for 2 naira. You say, Mr. Man, keep short.
We are more than that.
You are more than that. Take 20 naira, you know. And some cases too, some friends say, you know what? Don't worry. Maybe your friendship has even not gotten to that level of him giving you value. So hop up your game. Be a good friend and let's see. Try that. Maybe that would, So that will take us to our second mail. The second mail is from Dayo from Ibadan. Dayo says, my mother is causing trouble in my home. I'm a Christian man who married a Muslim woman. Of late, my mother has been acting up. We've been looking for a child for four years, and I understand my mom. She wants grandchildren. However, she's been disturbing my wife too much. She insists on taking her to her pastors, interrupts her prayer, and says her Muslim prayer at the cause. I threatened to stop her from coming to my house, but my wife says no. What do we do, please?
First of all, one of the first thing, the first mandate of a man is protection. And the protection is first of all over your wife, over your family. And it's not negotiable.
Right.
Your wife doesn't know your mom, you know your mom.
Right.
And every man has that responsibility, first of all, which is why the scripture says, and therefore shall a man live and cleave. That's what the scripture says. And so the cleaving most of the time hasn't been complete for a lot of men. Right. And that's why you see that level of interference in their marriage and that kind of conversation. So the first thing is this: you've got to call your mom to order. Your mom has lived her life and all of that. You are living your own life. What if, for instance, you guys even decide not to have children? That is in the works. So that's another conversation, which means that it's none of anybody's business. It is your life. They can't be crying more than they bereaved. They want a grandchild. The grandchild can't live with them. The grandchild they are talking about has to live with you. You have the responsibility of raising that child from beginning to the end. So you've got to take the bull by the horn. You've got to protect your wife in every way. The reason why your wife is saying you shouldn't is she's trying to be polite.
Diplomatic.
She's being diplomatic. She doesn't want to come out and say this thing is stressing me. All right, and she wants to be a nice person. You've got to take the bull by the horn. Help your wife, protect her at all costs, and ensure that she's in a safe space. A man must create a safe space for his family. I hope that helps you.
Yes, I think you've nailed it already. So because really, just like we say all the time, by the time you start accommodating all these conversations, you have a long way to go. You've not had, you people are still expecting babies. There'll still be babies. And the woman has pastors. So maybe the pastors can just face her own problem and be because people too, problem no they finish now, as they would say. So maybe your pastor should just be dealing as why? Because it won't even give you guys room to think straight. Because yes, everybody wants to help. The mother's motive is to have grandchildren. You guys, I'm sure maybe medical or maybe it's just, you're waiting on God, you know. So I think you should just try and address that with your mom, because for a man, if the woman won't come up to start saying also, because once she tries that is another conversation entirely. And she will now be dealing with something else that she doesn't even want to, she doesn't have that capacity to deal with, you know, that might now affect her relationship on the long run. So what we'll just advise is that the husband needs to take a stand and deal it now that it's still early. That there's still control. Absolutely. You can speak to your mom, because don't expect your wife to do that for you.
And it's not a Christian-Muslim conversation.
I was about to say that so from the get-go, the tone of the male and the Christian male, you are the man, she's the wife. You guys are a family. And so start seeing it from the perspective. Don't first of all see it from religion. Because if you start seeing it from religion, you are even saying some statements that might cause religious issues. Somebody is right, the other person is wrong. Let's face the conversation in itself and deal it once and for all. So speak to your mom. I
hope that helps you.
The last mail from today's episode: low self-esteem. Gabby from Ireland says, I noticed my little cousin has low self-esteem, especially in the midst of her peers. She lost her mom, who is my aunt, at a young age, and her dad refused to take care of her. She went to 2 foster homes before my parents found her and brought her in. She's been living with us for 5 months, but we noticed she has so much low esteem. I don't like seeing her like that. How do we help her? She's 14 years old. Okay,
so in those kind of situations, there are scenarios. Some people will say therapy, for instance. when they say, oh, go and see a therapist and they walk you through. Number two is that so in a situation of self-esteem, you can't have one solution that fits all because there are nuances and stuff. The most effective on low self-esteem is first of all receiving instruction from God on how to help the person.
Right.
Because there are certain situations that you will put the person in that would improve the self-esteem of that person. But off the cuff, right, is that you start to put the person, that's if you ask me, for instance, it starts to ensure that the person has a voice, which means that there will be places where nobody's shutting that person down. You know, she's freely to express herself when people are talking and all of that. But in actual fact, you can't control the narrative end to end, because amongst our peers, when there will be some people who are bullies, who would like to try to shut her down or shut the person down, you know, you can't control those people, and life has to present options to people. So what I would counsel is this: pray for that child and then receive specific instructions on how to help that person in spaces. So when you play games in the house, ensure the person has the free will to express herself. You know, when other children are doing that, you can control those things in those environments. But when they are outside of that environment, you actually can't control it. So when in situations whereby that child offends, allow the child to actually speak why they did what they did. In that way, she starts to have a voice of her own self, and then starts to gain her confidence back. There are certain situations where you have to reprimand. That might hold you back because you don't want her to draw into a shell again, but those things has to be done. So in that way, the first point of call is you intercede on behalf of the child in a very strong manner, consistent manner. Talk to the child, and whatever instructions you receive, you implement. But off the cuff, without prayers or anything, you can actually start to ensure that the child has a voice. Give her tasks to do where she can come and report those tasks back, in terms of clarity and all that.
Okay, so she's 14. Most times when people diagnose low self-esteem, it's actually not low self-esteem, because you are just self-diagnosing the girl based on what you think you know. That she's an orphan, or that she's gone to two foster home. Sometimes they are even smarter. The truth about the matter is, it could be puberty. Because at that age, they begin to, for a female child, they begin to
discover themselves.
Right. There's a lot of discovery. There's the cycle, there's the pimple, there's the enlargement, there's a lot of changes that she's going through. You won't understand. She's just quiet. That somebody is quiet doesn't mean the person has low self-esteem. Also, that people don't talk in public, or they don't just dabble into conversations, or they don't come out to, doesn't mean that they can't express themselves. In fact, the issue she's dealing with might even be entirely different from where your state of mind is. So I think to start with, it will be good that you guys engaging, because she's 14. She's not, I mean, she can express herself. You understand what I'm saying? So from conversations, in fact, you know that I've had issues that they discover that suddenly their daughter started keeping quiet. You know, she stays in the room, she doesn't come out after school, she'll just be quiet. They were thinking, oh, maybe she's going to, they're bullying her, she just had a boyfriend.
Right.
And most of the time, she just want to speak to the guy in the room. So the parent has gone, has spoken to people, and have taken advice from all and sundry. And then at the end of the day, the dad came into the room and discovered that the boy was on phone and the girl had slept. The guy was still there. Their dad, you know, that crazy secondary school, that young, this thing. That's what is wrong with her. So sometimes you need to... She was in love. So, you know, most times you need to actually come close to people to actually, before you start sending mail and start letting us, giving us issues or mailbox or what to address. First off, move close to her. Yes. Maybe there are issues she wants to talk about. Maybe there are even experiences. It's even possible that she's been raped.
Right.
She can't even say. And then she's living in a male. You are the uncle. Maybe it's even when she sees you that low self-esteem. Maybe you are even a problem.
no, maybe she just identifies you as
different things. Right? You can never even tell. Maybe before the death of whatever, or maybe she has stories that you people were in charge of her trauma.
Right.
And she can't even come up to tell you guys. So we can create 1,001 scenarios from what is wrong with the girl. She doesn't have health issues, according to you. It's just that you notice that she's been to 2 foster. So you first of all scrap that story on your head that is because she's an orphan, she's gone to 2 foster. In fact, she will be smarter, that's the truth, because she's seen life from a different perspective. So I think move closer and reevaluate what is wrong.
Right.
And if it's now the low self-esteem that you said, though, go to Wale's comment section and work with it.
All right,
yeah. So I think that'll be all for this episode of Mailbox. Till next time, my name is Adesha.
And I'm Wale. Blessings.